Tiffany Taylor Garner, and she will, in that beautiful dress, will welcome you.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us and your leadership over the years. And during this session, your commitment to addressing the mental health of our youth. So we'd love to hear more about the work underway from your perspective, any particular legislation you may have related to children's mental health or just children in general. We know that there are a number of considerations underway, including looking at mental health days or supports where they may be in facilities, but would love to hear more about that legislation and how folks can support you as you champion the mental health needs of our children.
Well, thank you. And good morning to all of you. I need to grab my cheat sheet, which I failed to do. So hang on just 1 second. I meant to grab this little cheat sheet that I have so I can go through my bills, or some of them are not quite bills yet. They will be coming this week. So that's why I needed the little bit of the cheat sheet. So a couple of the bills are out, of course, and we have one that is addressing needs with IEPs. And with that being said, that bill in itself is not an open, some people have been worried that that's kind of an open invitation for all kids to have IEPs, but it's not. It is specifically designed so that we have students that have different types of problems that they too can get that. And the burden of proof, if you will still be on testing and identification by our experts that do those things. Another bill that I have is I will be doing the hearing today in education at 1 o'clock, Senate Bill 151. And that bill will be working with counselors, social workers, and school psychologists. And we'll be encouraging the school districts to identify ways to attract more of those people, continue to identify, because we worked on this last session, the way that they will be used in a school. And of course, last session, we made sure that we did not use them to count test booklets and do lunch duty, while those things are all important. And we know that as school personnel or health personnel, we always end up doing those things with kids. We wanted to make sure that that wasn't their total focus, that they were in those lunchrooms with the kids. And then the other thing that that bill works on, Senate Bill 151, is the continuing education of those different classes of mental health personnel. One of the bills that is not out yet, so it doesn't have a bill number, is the 3 mental health days. Now, while students in schools can already take mental health days, and we know that, I wanted to bring focus to that. I think it's really important in this time of kids that not only the pandemic, but just to me, the whole ramifications of social media and things that are going on with our youth today. So that will become a bill. It could become a bill today. I mean, legal is just pounding away getting all these written. So that's why, if you're not familiar with the process, when you turn in your BDRs, they many times get behind for lots of reasons. Some of them may be that we don't have all the information that they need, and some of it may be that they need certain people to write certain bills. So that works that way too. And then another bill that I have is the in tune with the mental health days. It will be requiring our schools to complete training concerning social emotional welfare. And my idea, part of my idea with this bill, and it is not a bill either, it is still a BDR, bill draft request. Part of my idea with this is we many times as teachers and the counselors, psychologists, social workers, we get trained. You know, we have a staff meeting or a staff development day, and we all get trained. And the person in the front office, the person in the lunchroom, the custodian, the bus driver, all those very integral parts of our schools who see kids on a whole different level don't get that same training. So my thought is we even pulled in one person from the front office so that the front office could keep working. We even pulled in one custodian, then the rest of the custodians can keep working. Lunch lady, right? If we only pull in one, every time we do that, we start to click off. So that one will be really important and really interesting to see how it comes out of legal. Because that one's still being drafted, it will also have some information in there. I'm hoping to work on, you know, some distance education. In other words, if for some reason we can't get an in-person training, then we do this through distance education because the kids they're also going to need that same thing. So I've been working closely with Hope Means Nevada, which is working on teen suicide and teen mental health. And so that's kind of where I am today. Did I miss anything, Jeanette?
I don't think so.
Are you supporting legislation around ensuring that educational supports are is addressed when children are in mental health facilities?
Yes. And actually that came out, I can't remember the number right off the top of my head. That just came out. And you know, it's interesting because all the years I taught, I thought when kids were identified to go to psychiatric hospitals or get mental health needs, that they were being educated. And then I sort of found out from a few people, maybe not. So that's where that came from. And I am working with Bailey Bartlin and Legal Aid. It's not Legal Aid of Southern Nevada. And I can't put my head on the one in Northern Nevada. Jeanette, help me what it's called. But
Washoe Legal Services.
There we go. And anyway, so Bailey's helping me with that, which is really exciting. She's a wealth of information. But yes, so that those children are absolutely continue their education while they're in those facilities. We always know that someone does a banner job over here and then somebody else doesn't do it. And that's sometimes what sparks the bill, because we want to make sure it's at the forefront right now. So lots of mental health supports coming out today or this week from me. They have to be introduced by next Monday, so they'll all be out by then.
Awesome. We are so thankful for the ways in which you are championing children's mental health, whether it's looking at the capacity of the professionals who can support and ensuring that there's professional development there, or looking at what happens with their educational needs when they're getting their mental health addressed, or just building capacity when they're in school systems to dedicate time for folks to rejuvenate or refocus or get the support they need during their mental health. We are so thankful that you appreciate and understand the impact of it, managing it just as you manage the other areas of our life. We'd also like to ask, would you like to share a little bit about Back on Track? Another priority for us is pre-K and of course the remediation needed as a result of this pandemic. Anything you'd like to share about that?
Are you referring to the summer school bill?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. So the summer school bill, Senate Bill 173, is really exciting. You know, when I came up here this session, I thought long and hard because some of you may know, but some of you may not. We are given a certain amount of bill drafts that we can use. And I always feel like just filling them with things isn't as important as the quality and making sure that what you fill them with. So after some discussions and thinking about the pandemic, and by the way, I have, 5 grandkids, of which are in 2 families. So I'm watching this daily with my own daughters. It became clear that my daughters are in a totally different situation, right? Than many of our parents. So the idea of summer school, and we've never offered elementary summer school, and we've never offered transportation. So how can we get these kids to school? So we're going to be presenting that on March 17th. Superintendent Ieps will be presenting with me. And the idea behind that is to ask the school districts to submit a plan with the criteria listed in the bill, which would include transportation, K-12 summer school. And that can look different in lots of different schools. So an elementary school obviously wouldn't be offering chemistry or biology, but they might be offering pre-K and first grade, getting ready to read skills and those types of things that they might have missed. A high school may have an English class that a kid needs to be making up because all of a sudden they went, oh boy, I'm not going to graduate. And we're hoping the motivation for all of this, because we know that we have to have kids that are motivated. I mean, at the end of the day, we can supply everything we can supply, but if the kids don't show up, I think it'll be, somebody said to me, what are you going to do if you have too many kids? And I said, that's the best problem I've heard ever. So I hope that we have too many kids, but we also hope that the students who lagged behind in high school, for example, maybe aren't in the place to graduate, will be motivated because now they'll be able to look at it and say, wow, I can do this in 4 weeks instead of a whole semester. I can do this, right? So that's their motivation. The little guys, their motivation will be moms knowing that they'll be ready for school when we go back in the fall. And I think that's the motivation. I just talked with a middle school principal over the weekend, and she was saying, I want to do some different things. I don't know if I just want to have regular classes. And I said, that's why we said submit a plan, because we want it to work for the kids. We don't want it just to be sit down, pen and paper day after day after day. And, we want the kids to really learn. And so by submitting a plan, that allows that. We also know that because so many of our school districts are different. I mean, we may have Esmeralda that doesn't need to provide transportation because they only have 70 kids. And by the way, they may not even decide, they may not need the same thing because their kids have been going to school. So they may not do the same type of piece. So we recognize that. And so we want the school districts to have a plan that works for them. And then that filters down to the schools that will be used for summer school. We had a school district that said, well, we're renovating the high school. Well, then that's where I want them to think outside of the box and say, well, maybe you have those classes at Boys and Girls Club. Maybe you have those classes at the Elks Club. If you're, there's different facilities that we could use because we know we're not going to have every child. So we're just hoping that this really works. I heard from somebody on the Paiute Reservation, and they were very excited about this. So we've had a lot of really fun emails come in, and very much people that see the need for this. So we're just hoping that our teachers will see this as a way to help our kids and also make some extra funds for themselves over the summer.
Well, I'm sure I don't have to share with you how extraordinary last year was for all of our families. And so we were excited to see this investment or commitment, and definitely wanted to underscore the need for pre-K at a time like this, thinking through the year that folks had last year, hoping that folks will see it also as an opportunity to offer pre-K so that as children return to some maybe more traditional instructional models, that they are prepared for it. And so to the extent that you can emphasize that this is not only a focus on summer school, but from your perspective, it includes pre-K, we would welcome that as a part of the process. Didn't know if there were percentages dedicated to one model or the other, or how that would go. And ultimately, we know that schools are probably, and districts are probably best positioned to understand what their needs are. But to the extent that you can champion pre-K with us as a part of this work, we welcome it. I'd love to take a moment, just a moment, and open it up to questions from others, because I could talk to you forever, because I'm so excited about your commitment to children's mental health. But I'm certain there may be others with questions on today's coffee chat call. Others? Questions or comments for our phenomenal senator?
Hi, this is Amanda Havish-Deloy with Nevada Institute for Children. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I just had one quick question for you. I think that there is a bill out, and I apologize, I'm not sure of the number, but that it is giving a little bit more flexibility for accountability for teachers' performance being based on test scores. So that way we know as youth are struggling, you know, with the changes with the pandemic, and as we know that will continue through next year, making sure that teachers aren't, you know, penalized for if test scores, you know, on average go down, or if they are trying to spend more time adjusting more social emotional needs, as you mentioned, that there would be kind of that, I guess, that flexibility to do so without consequences.
I do not know that bill right off the top of my head, and that's, you know, normal this time of year when bills are coming out fast. And I do appreciate that. I did have a conversation with about that. And of course, one of the things that we have to be cognizant of is some of the, we're waiting for also some of the federal pieces to come down, because that will determine, you know, some of the tests are federal tests and some of the tests are, so we're waiting for some of those pieces to come down, some of that information to come down. So within the summer school bill, just so you know, we have not placed assessment at all. We've placed, if they have achievement results in their reports that they're going to be asked to submit. And the reason we've asked for that is because why wouldn't we want to be able to say we had 300 kids and, you know, 200 of them attended in person and 100 virtually, and they attended X amount of days. And why wouldn't we want to support ourselves in the good work that we're all doing and bring light to the good use of the funds, so that we can move forward with that. So it will be achievement, not to be confused with assessment.
Great, thank you so much.
Other questions, comments, or thoughts before I ask one other question? Other questions, comments, or thoughts? Well, how can we support you?
Well, the best thing for us in this virtual world right now is when we do have a bill, and I'm sure you all have someone within your organizations that kind of follows the legislature or follows the bills. When you see a bill that you know is supporting children and you want to support it, the best thing you can do is watch the hearing, and then at the end there's public comment. So we start with support, opposition, and neutral, and then of course we go to public comment. But during that support, opposition, neutral time, if you support the bill, that would be a great time to phone in. It's a fairly simple process, and it's all listed on the Nevada Legislature website, what we call NELIS, NELIS 1L, Nevada Electronic Legislative Information System. And when you go there, there's a help button. If anybody needs those instructions or wants me to send them to you, you can always email me. And that's the other piece. If anybody wants to email me or ask a question, you can please feel free to do so. If I don't know the answer, I'll find it. And I'm easy to find. Both Dr. Tyler Garner and Jeanette know where I am. So I'm pretty much, I call myself a hostage within the legislative building because you come in your office and you never leave. So you're in here all day on Zoom meetings, but it's my pleasure. And it's actually been, some of it has been really good. I mean, like, look at all of us right now on this call. We wouldn't have all crowded in an office even in a regular day back in 2, 3, 4 years ago. So it's kind of opened up a whole new world for us to be able to do these kinds of calls. So I appreciate all of you this morning, but supporting the bills online is really important, and reaching out and saying, you know, I wish that bill had da 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 da, because sometimes that's just not thought of. And sometimes it can't be done. I had somebody reach out yesterday about a bill, and I said, I think that's a fabulous idea, but there is no money. There is no money to do this. So how can we do something without funding? So that's what I've been trying to do this session, is do some really child-centric bills that don't require huge amounts of funding. That way they'll pass. So.
Senator, I just wanted to let you know that that's an assembly bill on the assessments, teacher and principal.
Okay.
So you haven't had the opportunity to see it yet, and it depends on whether it passes out of the other house or not. So.
Sure. Well, I am going to have to excuse myself because I have a finance meeting in 4 minutes. So I need to jump on and let them know that I'm there, but please don't hesitate to do these again if you need to during the session. Happy to join you, and we'll just keep the conversation going.
Thank you, and thanks for being a champion for our children.
Oh, well, you as well, all of you, because you wouldn't be on this call if you weren't. So thank you so much, and it's so good to see some people that I haven't seen forever, Annette and Shar, and oh my gosh. So, all right, we'll reconvene soon, I hope.
Yes. Count
all
on.
right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.